Good morning. How do you ignore the will of the people? Well, it's an art, almost. A lot of people are frustrated about this. You have this idea about what the people want, and then you see what the politicians do, and you get frustrated, right? Yeah. Well, it's an art, and the globalists, they know exactly what to do. They have tricks. The most important one is to never ask. You don't ask the people, whatever you do, because then everybody would know, you see? You don't want people to know what the majority thinks. Why do you think that there are no EU referendums in the EU? Because the globalists don't want people to know. That's all. Now, the one that they had in the UK was a mistake. It was a huge mistake. I think it was because they thought that the Remain side would win. Yeah? Huge mistake. People wanted to leave, you see. And then everybody knew what the guys in the UK thought about this. And this was a disaster for them. What do you think would happen if there was an EU referendum in Italy, let's say? That would be another disaster. So you don't see a referendum, you see. They will do anything to stop it. Because if there was a referendum in Italy, people in Germany, France, Sweden, Denmark, Finland would know what the Italians really think about the EU. And you can't let people know about this. Yeah. And then you have media, of course. If you look at Swedish media, you will get this idea that everybody in Sweden wants to stay in the EU. Yeah, really. Well, a vast majority, at least. And there are no surveys done. No. Well, there are, but media will not tell you about it. There was one by Centu, it was done recently, in Sweden. 42% of Swedish citizens wants to leave the EU. 42%. I know it's a low number, but still it's a clear majority. 31% wanted to remain, and 27% said they didn't know. You will not see this in mainstream media. No. So what do they do instead? Well, they have another trick. They use groups, associations. And then they have all these associations speak as one voice, basically. And then politicians will have an excuse to do what they do. So this is how they work. They make it look like it's a majority by having all these groups and associations. Yeah. I have an example of this. It's from Switzerland. I don't talk much about Switzerland. Switzerland, they have been very reluctant to accept immigrants for a long time. But this is what happened in Switzerland. In April this year, more than 100 organizations, including church groups, launched an appeal to take in refugees. And they all said, like one voice, see, that Switzerland shared a responsibility for the humanitarian catastrophe in Greece. And then there was a petition signed. More than 30,000 people called on the government and the parliament to act, to help. So what happened? Well, there was a change. People started to come. And they accepted these unaccompanied minors from Greece. Just recently, 23 of these unaccompanied minors landed in Zurich. 18 boys, 5 girls. They came from Afghanistan and Congo. Right, and the Swiss government also pledged $1.2 billion in emergency aid for projects benefiting children and teenagers in Greece, in these camps, see. So this is how they do it. Well, we have to be opposing this, that's the solution. So that's why I'm telling you about this Sentius survey, for instance. People need to know. A majority of the Swedish citizens wants to leave the EU. If there was a referendum here in Sweden, a majority would vote to leave. Yeah. Now people don't understand this because they have no chance to know it. If they don't if they don't watch channels like this one. So we have to do it. All right. That's all. Bye.